Well, Andy Phillips was an All-American at Alabama and went on to play for arguably the greatest franchise in all of sports. We're talking about the New York Yankees. But now, this West Alabama native is returning to his roots at the Capstone. Phillips recently signed on to become the Tide's hitting coach. I recently sat down with Andy and asked him about his newfound coaching career, his time in New York, and his relationship with former coach Alabama's Jim Wells. So what's it like to be back?
Exciting, to say the least. You know, I'm excited to be back of part of a program that, I was involved with and have a lot of passion for. And so, and plus it had a new dimension.
This is your first chance to coach. Any nervousness associated with that?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm excited. I think over the course of, my playing career and being involved with some of the people that I have in the game as a player, and then from coach's standpoint, being able to soak all that in certainly gives you a lot of confidence about what you can do teaching and communication with these guys. I'm not that far removed from playing, so I know what it's like to go through the ups and downs as a player. There's no nervousness at all. I'm excited, and ultimately you have to be confident in what you do, and I'm very confident that I can communicate this stuff to these guys.
Driven deep to left field. If it's fair, it is trouble. See ya! Solo home run. Andy Phillips.
You hear about the pressure of playing in New York. Is it really what people make it out to be?
The pressure is what you make of it. Sometimes the element that gets away from you is that it's still baseball. If you keep that in context and realize that, relatively speaking, how big is that pressure? I mean, pressure is relative based on what you look at. Like I say all the time, pressure to me is not playing baseball in New York. Pressure to me would be being shipped out to go fight for your country. That's pressure. When you keep it in context of what you're doing, it gives you so much more enjoyment, and it keeps it in perspective.
I remember watching your career with the Yankees and thinking, if this guy was playing for any other franchise, he would probably be starting. But because of the guys in that lineup, because of the depth of the lineup in New York, you kind of got pushed to the back burner a little bit. Any regrets along those lines?
No. I mean, it's easy on the surface to sit here and look on paper and say it could have been different, but there's no guarantees. And what people can't take away is, playing for the greatest franchise in the world, playing with guys like Jeter and A-Rod and Pettit and Rivera and those guys. And also, now as a coach, looking back on it, in that organization, because there were so many great players, I had to basically move from position to position. I came up as a third baseman, I moved to second base, then I moved to first base when I was a shortstop in college. So over the course of those years, I got to learn every single position on the infield, which will only benefit me as a coach.
When Coach Wells retired the first time, then came back, he said in his press conference that he called you.
Yeah.
That had to be a little bit humbling.
Yeah, it was. I'll never forget. I was in Baltimore. We were playing in Baltimore the day that he called, and I was in the dugout at Camden Yard, and we talked. And it was humbling. But again, I think it shows you that it doesn't matter at what point you are in your life. You're never beyond needing some encouragement. You're never beyond needing advice, and you're never beyond needing to listen to people. And so, Coach reached out to me, and hopefully. I gave him the best advice I could, and which was simply, you got to go with your heart. And if that means shutting it down, shut it down. If that means coming back, go back. I think he made the right decision at the time. Again, I think it speaks to our relationship. As a matter of fact, he was one of the 2 or 3 people I talked to when this opportunity came up, and he reached out to me, and his advice was invaluable in the decision making. But it goes way deeper than that. He and I have always had a unique relationship.
He's a consummate team player, and again, if you could have 9 or 10 of those guys every year, you'd feel like you could conquer the world.
I wouldn't be coaching here. I would have never advanced as far in professional baseball had I played for anybody but Coach Wells. I mean, he brought out stuff in me that I didn't know was in there as a player, and so I will forever be grateful for him and what he's meant in my life.
Finally, you're in the unique position of experiencing both Alabama and Auburn, as well as Red Sox-Yankees. Which is the better rivalry?
It's hard to say there's a better rivalry, and like I tell people all the time, the difference is the Red Sox-Yankee rivalry, it happens 19 times a year. For the players, after about game 2, it gets old, you know, because we just want to play baseball. Now, for the fans, it's the same game 1 as it is game 19. So you can imagine doing the Alabama-Auburn football thing 19 times a year for the fans. Now, it's crazy. And it's a little bit, you know, it is a little bit smaller scale. I mean, there's only 55,000 people in the stands as opposed to 100, you know, so, but it's very similar.
Good stuff. Great interview.
Yeah, it was a good one. And, you know, I asked him also if we had to leave on the cutting room floor, if it was hard to make the decision to leave playing, because he had some offers out there to go and play for some clubs, to come coach at Alabama. He said when Coach Gaspard called, no problem at all. He wanted to be here.
He's a Bama man.
Yep.